All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of Guard Capital. It is Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to join me this morning and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jeff is in the house with a question about Netflix. I love the fact that everyone's ready right away at 9 a.m. Excellent, excellent. My favorite. Can't wait to go over the charts with you. We will go over Netflix here in a second. Let's go ahead and get around the horn rather quickly. Dow futures down about 74 points, NASDAQ down about 0.28%, S&P down about 0.23%, Russell bouncing slightly, 1884. Yesterday was the laggard. Volatility index, the VIX, 1426, up 1.78%. The dollar index is sliding a little bit, 104.73. 10-year treasury yields pulling back, 4.25%. Yesterday yields were elevated, the dollar was elevated, and stocks were green until that red candle at 3 p.m. yesterday. Crude oil pulling back, 86.45. I got stopped out on my short crude futures position. I had an 86.50 stop. It got as high as what, 87? Let me see exactly how high it got. Yeah, we got as high as 88.18. Again, I still think it's overbought. I still think we get a pullback. If we break below 85, I want to test the 20-day moving average at 81.84, hopefully, if the dollar continues to strengthen. Gasoline futures up 0.29%, $2.58. Gold futures, 1946, down 0.30%, even with the dollar down. Silver futures down 1.44%, $3.81 for copper futures, down 1% this morning, give or take. 107.32 euro dollar. I am short. I am flat right now. It's up about 9 pips. 147.27 down 44 pips. Pound dollar down 10, with Bitcoin and Ethereum flat on the futures contracts. So let's get started on some questions. Everyone's ready to go. I love it. Let's take a look at Netflix together. Netflix we played yesterday. We played the, I believe it was the 475 calls, 470s, I want to say. With that being said, we still have that gap there. We're still waiting on that 470. Let me see if I can replace this alert. Yeah, let me get out of this one. There you go, right there. 46. We'll call it 470. There's your gap fill. I had 2 alerts there for some reason. We got the break. We got as high as 453, 47 or so. The expectation is we will get that gap fill. Everyone took it yesterday. I still have my calls. Again, I still think we're going to get that gap fill. So again, I am flat on it. Let me see where I'm at on it. I have it on Robinhood. Right now on those Netflix calls, I am down about 13%, but everyone caught it. So that was well done. I just held on. To be fair, I didn't have like a ton of risk on the board. I just like where we are and where we're going. We got to as high as 80% on Netflix 470 calls. Got in at 76 cents. Got as high as $1.37. I went ahead and sent that screenshot. I did not get out personally. Everyone's asking, do you think it has a little more room to go? A couple of you guys double dipped. Well done. If we get a break above 453.47, I don't hate it. I don't hate it for continuation. The problem is we already got it once. We played same stocks the same week before, or what, by a little separated week and a half apart, week or so apart. So let's go and place 453.48. That was the question from Jeff. He was saying about 453. 453.48 is our wick high. So we want to get above that. Then we could target 470 again for some calls. We'll see where we go. With that being said, it was a great setup, but the individual names did a lot better than the indices itself. Let's take a look at S&P yesterday. Taking a look here. Here we go. This is ES, and you can see this is the big red candle that we had yesterday. It brought us down. And again, I still say that we have a little more downside. Again, it's just difficult to kind of say right here, why are you buying right now? You know, it's not cheap enough. There's no catalyst. So again, a slow meltdown is what I expect. We are still holding 44.93, 4,500 was that kind of support. Not sexy enough to short quite yet, but we broke the 50-day. So with that being said, we want to get below 44.86 if we can get there. And if we do, what I'm looking for is around 44.59. That's that 20. It isn't enough to short per se, but hey, at least it gives us some kind of direction where the market might be going. And again, individual names may vary. Obviously, the fact they have their own momentum, their own headlines, and such like that. But we're talking about just broader market picture. If we're trading equity futures, it's just not there yet. Again, I placed that alert right at that wick low. We're below the 50-day moving average. 44.60 would be your hard support. If anything, I'm probably looking at there to buy. So again, really this alert here, 44.86, is just to kind of give us a little bit more of a confirmation that the 20 is to be tested. And if we do get there, it's really a sense of, hey, we went ahead and took away the actual head and shoulder setup on the daily. We broke above. Now we have possibly an inverse head and shoulder. You see 1 and 2, but your neckline is right here at 44.62, and here's your head. That could be setting up. So again, if we get to 44.59, that's kind of a buy zone I'm looking at. I'd keep the stop pretty tight, but again, maybe at 44.28, 44.20, not a ton of risk. But again, if that inverse head and shoulders hold up, then 44.50 would be in play. That's about 100 points. Not too bad. You'd be risking maybe 30, and then looking for 100, you get out around 45.50. I like that setup if the 20 holds. If it does not hold and we continue to fall, then 44.20 is our next level, and 4400 is pretty much the line where we really need to hold. That's been that October trend line that has been pretty solid. Broken below again in March, but nothing where we have to get any kind of worries as of yet. A lot of this is just really chop. Stay patient, and we'll see where we go. Disney, 80 calls expiring 10/20/23. Again, it's continued to slide. And again, I love Disney. I actually went to Disney World this weekend with the family, with my wife, and we went to Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom. Wasn't as packed. Obviously, we had that hurricane issue recently. Maybe some people canceled their reservations or what have you. I mean, I like it. I enjoy it. But again, the parks are not the issue. The issue is the streaming, and that's how expensive it is. So we're still looking for around 79.07. If you're looking to say, hey, you know, I want to play calls, the 80 calls, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a tough one. If anything, you probably want to be selling upside calls against the name, not buying them, because you really just don't have any momentum clear to the upside. And again, that's already in the money, those 80 calls. So the lower it gets, again, those premiums are going to get hit. So I don't like the setup, Jeff. I'm sorry. I think it's probably best to just get out while you can, as we're slowly melting under that September sun. Morning, Carlos. Thoughts on Apple. Let's take a look at it. Apple, you have an upside gap to fill on the day, on the 1 hour at 189.47. And this is a name that I have been watching since we didn't fill that gap as of yet at 191.53. Let's place the alert there. That could be a place where, hey, if we break above, we could start taking a look at 195. But again, we need to fill that gap first. Again, it could reject. We'll see. Remember, CVX rejected that before. XOM rejected that before. 2 weeks later, XOM soars, of course, on OPEC headlines, even though I had calls. But that's just the nature of the beast. I'd wait for that gap fill, 190.54. If we break below the 50-day, 186.72, maybe 183 calls, 182.50 calls, puts, excuse me, would be something to watch. Because that was previously that all-time high nut to crack that we were looking for. This is that 2022, 2021 high. Again, a retest of that level. We broke below it. It's just ping pong right here. So, and not the best risk reward setup. I wouldn't even signal that, to be completely honest with you. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla I talked about very, very carefully with our watch list and charts team. This is a masterclass in premium. So I went ahead and typed up about Tesla. I said, we're right at the 50-day. If we can get to 258.27, I like the 266 to 270 level for calls. And that's something that I am watching. I have the alert there. We need that alert to break. If that does break, then we could talk about 266. Did break out of this small little downward trend line. But the major trend line, this one right here, this green one, really since 2021, that has yet to be breached. And that's kind of what we're targeting if we break above 258.27, maybe 259 if we want to kind of be a little conservative, and we still have an upside gap to fill in Tesla. Tesla has been great to us, as you know. It's been our moneymaker past, 6 weeks. We haven't lost a trade on Tesla in a while. I hope I didn't jinx myself, knock on wood. So we're not going to push the envelope on Tesla. We're going to wait and we're going to be patient, but I do like it. I do like it. It's been definitely on my radar. Tilray. And again, Tilray, penny stock land, like most cannabis stocks. It is above the 20. It is above the 50. Could you target 460 for calls? If there's volume, sure. Buy some time, I guess. Guys, marijuana stocks are based on one thing and one thing alone: full legalization. Unless you have really any kind of news changing, that's all you're hoping for. You're hoping for the market to expand federally to everyone, so everyone can enjoy the product, right? That's kind of the deal. But if you're still restricted to state by state, certain states don't have it. It's the same thing with sports gambling. When these vices, the vice stocks, become legalized, whether it be federally or more states catch on, that's where you're going to get the move on these cannabis names and sports betting names. And again, I love me some DraftKings. Trade it all the time. I still own it. Yes, it's down. But again, we're betting, no pun intended, on future legalization. Why would you say that would happen? Have you guys seen the federal deficit lately? Boy, if there's some way out there that the government can make more money without doing more income tax, I can think of a couple things. I don't know, cannabis, which everyone uses. Alcohol is taxed by the state. Cigarettes are taxed by the state, and federally, why not cannabis? I mean, it's time for people to evolve and progress. And we need another form of income in the United States, obviously, to spend. And then, of course, you throw in online sports gambling, another tax revenue. Again, not increasing taxes on homeowners, not increasing taxes on small businesses, not increasing taxes on middle class. That's really the best bet. And we know the United States has really no issue with gambling since we've had the lottery now for how many decades? And it's a big moneymaker, as we know, even though, funding for education, that's what the Florida Lotto says. But again, it's really kind of looking in that prism. Are we betting on the fact that the United States legislature gets it together and Congress gets it together? Don't hold your breath. Don't depend on politicians for much. You'll be let down. But understand that these two pillars, again, if we have more government deficits and more debt, again, these are going to be alternatives. These are going to be something or some kind of way to bring in more funding to the U.S. if they finally get their act together. So again, I like for both to be legalized. The question is when and how long can you hold? That's really when it comes to Tilray, CGC, Constellation Brands that has cannabis exposure, all those names, and the sports betting of the like. Let's see. A few levels for Path. Let's see Path here. Unipath, I don't know much about them, but I'll go ahead and just take a look at the chart. Not a lot, my friend. Just chop. Kind of looks like a heartbeat, a little bit, right? Up, down, up, down. You're above the 20. You're above the 100. But even if you get above the 50, I mean, there isn't any edge here. You really got to get above 22 to really cook, if anything, on this name. But I don't see really anything to take a look at. Only thing bullish about it, if I can be completely honest, is in the weekly, you're above the 22. So that's also a good sign. You don't have any golden crosses. You don't have anything that makes it rather exciting to buy into. Again, just talking about the stock. So I think you're better served to just hold off on this one. Let's see. And there's really no levels. I'm sorry, man. EOSE. EOS Energy Enterprises. Another penny stock. I don't know much about this name. Again, I'm just going to give you levels based on the daily. You're above the 50. Sure. I guess you got to get above penny stock land, get above $5 and sustain. That would be nice. That would probably be inclusion in ETFs, if that. Again, that's a hell of a stretch. I would say above $5, maybe you could take a stab at it, but I don't know much about them, and there's nothing rather interesting or rather compelling about this stock or this name. Can't bet on the U.S. having common sense. No, but we have to understand too that Congress people and politicians, they come from American schools, American families, American communities. I mean, just like George Carlin said, they don't fall out of the sky. They're not coming from another reality. At the end of the day, these are the people we vote for. George Carlin said it best. This is the best we could do, folks. That's all you could say. So this idea that we have to stay invested into politics. Yes, we have control on a voting day. Not to get too technical, obviously, everyone has their views, and I think everyone's views should be respected and heard, and different aspects, sure. Everyone has a perspective on their perfect world, fair enough. But this idea to be so gang-related, red versus blue, I don't think that's helpful. I think, in a perfect world, everyone gets along, but that's not the case. And guys, understand that democracy isn't easy. Democracy is not easy. It's not supposed to be very clear-cut, get laws passed immediately. It doesn't work like that. Again, you have so many constituencies from 50 states, 50 states, 100 senators, 400 and I would say 32, House congressmen, congresspeople. Then you're talking about 50 governors, state legislatures. You have, all these different things kind of working together in our democracy that it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be gridlocked because it takes the United States, the people to really get behind something for stuff to get done. And if things don't pass, it's because not everyone agrees. And that's something that we just need to accept as people. We don't get what we want all the time. Let's grow up a little bit. That's just the way it goes. Thoughts on NVIDIA? Let's take a look at it. Yeah, politics aside, and again, that's not a fun subject to talk about. People get very upset, and I'd rather just focus on making you guys money. I think that's something that we can all agree with. NVIDIA, riding that kind of trend line up since the lows of the 7th of June. Is there anything special here? Really all you're waiting for is a break of the recent highs, 502.66, and then by that time they're going to be so expensive. So, I mean, NVIDIA can go as high as the imagination wants. There's not much to do here in terms of the actual stock. Look at this, 520. That was, I believe, intraday with the earnings. So 502.66 is the settlement high. Get above that. Hey, maybe we can test the 520 strike. But even those are going to be very expensive. So NVIDIA right now, it is just too pricey to trade. If you own it, just count your money and be happy. Good morning, Carlos. How are we looking on Intel? Technically speaking, yes, the only trade we have open. Pulling back this morning, a couple of cents. Nothing really crazy. The only thing that we have an issue is this daily candle isn't the best. I'll be honest with you. Looks like a triple top. Could it be a triple top? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not. And the reason I say that is that triple tops usually don't happen. Now, again, the market could change anytime. But 37.62, that's the break point. That's what we're looking for. And we had some really great volume on Intel yesterday, about 10,000 vol. There was one that stood out to me yesterday, which was Chevron 170 calls. That was a UOA. And that had just out the gate 4,800 volume on those 170 calls. It got choppy, obviously. But there's obviously some interest in this. Now, it could be selling of contracts. It could be buying of contracts. But I think Intel has some room. Again, it is a short week, so we need to be extra patient. This is why we didn't add risk. But this was a watch list play. So let's go over the watch list itself with Nick on Intel. Intel looks like it's ready to fill the gap from the last earnings gap in July. Watch this one this week. Above 37.5 is the weekly 100 MA. We can look for taking the upside. And we did break that. So let's take a look at the weekly. We broke it clear, but we rejected. And again, a lot of that yesterday, guys, was that 1 hour red candle on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ right at 3 p.m. So it wasn't stock specific. AMD had a nice day yesterday. It hit my low side for alert, and it broke my upside for alert. That's how choppy at midpoint it was. So again, it really wasn't worth trading. And we talked about it here on the watch list and charts. We got that green line of resistance, and we're kind of hovering around. It broke the downside alert of 107.77. It broke the upside alert of 111.05. So it's kind of like, I'm glad that we didn't trade it because this was complete chop. But it's good to see that at least the semiconductor space, Intel included, the CEO also had some positive words for the stock, but that's probably priced in already. But the idea is, does Intel fill that gap? And that's really all we can play is just the technicals. Rejected the 100 weekly MA, not the best daily candle, yes. But I think just being a little patient here is going to pay off for this name. So we just have to wait it out. If we're looking for levels where things could be just getting a little too ugly, and then say, hey, we need to get out of this thing. If we break below this gap fill around 35.56, that's where I'd be a little concerned, and that is your risk, is right here. 35.56, we may test that if we get some ugliness with the dollar going higher a little bit, yields start getting away from us. We are red right now, but again, these are possibilities. Is it enough for me to close at 35.57? No, because I want to see the close today. But we really need to get up to 37.62 for this one to actually hit. And it was back and forth yesterday. It was up 20%, then it was down 20%. So again, a very choppy tape. Lowest volume since last Monday, guys. Keep that in mind. AMD, we just talked about that. Yep, AMD is complete chop. I stay away from that. That's a stock probably right now that you're writing, puts or calls. You're collecting that premium. I don't do that, but again, in a choppy market, that's probably one of the better strategies out there is actually, option writing. I would not do a naked option writing. I would do covered calls or covered puts. So at least if you get exercise, you actually have the stock to give away or to actually sell, or you have margin. And well, that's a whole different story. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning. Thank you again for joining me here on the morning notes. If you haven't already, make sure to check the description box below. Join our Discord server. It is free for all. The actual live market blog. We'd love to have you on board, and make sure to like and subscribe to our videos. Really appreciate the support, and we will see you guys tomorrow for the next morning note. And members, I will see you guys on the server. Cheers.